Arman was a young man filled with dreams, like so many of us. He wanted to create a life of meaning, one that would make his family proud and give him the freedom he had always imagined. But as he looked around, he noticed something troubling. Everyone seemed to be moving ahead faster than him. His friends were cutting corners, finding easy ways to make money, and chasing shortcuts that promise instant rewards. Temptation was everywhere. Offers came to him in whispers. Why work so hard when you can just take this faster path? Some friends encouraged him to follow them, showing off their quick earnings, their flashy possessions, and their rising status. To Arman, it looked easy, almost too easy. For a moment, he wondered if he was the fool, working long hours, studying hard, putting his heart into every step, while others were skipping the struggle and still moving ahead. But deep inside, Arman carried a voice, a quiet reminder from his late father, "Son, anything built on lies or shortcuts never lasts. If you want something real, earn it with honesty. The foundation matters more than the speed." Those words echoed in his heart whenever temptation came close. He would close his eyes, take a deep breath, and walk away from the easy paths, even when it hurt. The road he chose was not easy. He faced rejection after rejection. His applications were ignored, his projects dismissed, and his ideas often laughed at. Many nights, he sat alone at his desk, staring at his work, wondering if it was all worth it. His phone buzzed with updates from friends celebrating their sudden successes, while his own life looked painfully slow. It was in those moments of silence, when doubt crept in, that Arman felt the weight of his choice. Every struggle tested him. There were days when he questioned his worth. Days when people mocked him, saying, "Why waste your time? Don't you see we are already ahead?" Their words pierced like knives, and sometimes he almost gave in. Almost. But then he remembered his father's advice, and the small spark of belief in his own heart, that one day, hard work would speak louder than shortcuts. One evening, exhausted after another rejection, Arman met an old teacher who had once guided him. Seeing his tired eyes, the teacher said, "The world praises quick results, but remember, real success is like planting a tree. You water it, nurture it, wait for years, and only then do you enjoy its shade. Don't lose patience. Don't stop." That conversation became a turning point, a fresh source of strength for him. Still, the journey was heavy. Bills piled up, failures multiplied, and loneliness grew. Yet, Arman refused to surrender to shortcuts. He chose the path of persistence, the road of discipline, even when it felt like walking through endless darkness. Each small step he took, each long night of effort, became a quiet battle against giving up. Inside, Arman knew this struggle was shaping him. The rejections carved resilience into his heart. The slow progress built patience in his soul. And the refusal to take shortcuts gave him a dignity that no fast success could ever buy. This was the conflict that defined him, the fight not against the world, but against himself, against the voice of doubt that begged him to quit. It was a silent war, but one that would decide everything about his future. Time moved slowly, but Arman kept walking his path. While many of his peers burned out or saw their quick gains vanish, he stayed steady, brick by brick building something real. His projects, once ignored, began to gain more attention. Not because of flashy promises, but because they worked, because they carried honesty and effort in every detail. At first, no one noticed. But one day, a client came back to him, saying, "I can trust you. You deliver what you promise." That one sentence lit a fire inside Arman's heart. Trust, something shortcuts could never buy, was beginning to grow around him. Slowly, The seeds he had planted through years of effort started sprouting. Arman's confidence changed. He no longer chased quick validation. Instead, he poured himself into his work, fueled not by speed, but by purpose. His small wins became steady growth. Projects succeeded, opportunities opened, and even those who once mocked him began to respect his discipline. Some of the very friends who had chosen shortcuts now came back to him, seeking advice, realizing their paths had collapsed while his foundation stood strong. There was no overnight victory. It was a journey of years, of sweat, of tears. But when success finally arrived, it was different. It was deep. It was lasting. His name carried weight, not because of luck or shortcuts, but because people knew he had earned everything with honesty. He had become an example of what patience and resilience can create. Arman often looked back at those dark nights when he almost gave up. Now he realized that those struggles were not wasted, they were the very fire that forged his strength. Without rejection, he would never have learned persistence. Without loneliness, he would never have discovered his inner power. Without saying no to shortcuts, he would never have built the respect he now enjoyed. And then came the moment that defined it all. At a gathering, a young student asked him, "Sir, what's the secret to your success?" Arman smiled, remembering his father's words, and replied, "There is no secret. The truth is simple, never take shortcuts. They may give you speed, but they won't give you strength. Real success takes time, but it lasts forever." His answer moved the crowd. Some people felt inspired, others felt a sting of regret, but all of them knew his words were true. The power of his story was not in what he achieved, but in how he achieved it, with patience, with honesty, and with courage. That day, Arman understood the true meaning of success. It was not the money, the recognition, or the applause. It was the dignity of knowing that every victory was real, built with his own hands, without cheating, without lies. That dignity was priceless. The moral of Arman's journey is clear: shortcuts fade, but character remains. Success that comes too fast without effort disappears just as quickly. But when you build step by step, with discipline and truth, you create something unshakable. The world may not reward you immediately, but one day, your work will speak for itself. For anyone listening to this story, remember this: the world is full of easy paths, but don't be fooled. Easy roads lead to fragile endings. If you want a success that lasts, be patient, work hard, and never betray your values. Like Arman, trust the process. The journey may be longer, but the reward will be greater. And when your moment finally comes, you won't just have success, you'll have a story, a legacy, and a strength that no shortcut could ever give.